So this film was nominated for Best Animated Feature alongside Inside Out, Shaun the Sheep movie, and Studio Ghibli's last film, When Marnie Was There. So could this film be just as good as Pixar? So I just watched a film called Anomalisa. Okay, I actually watched it a couple nights ago, but honestly, I couldn't think of anything to say about this movie. It was so bizarre for me to experience. It's a stop-motion animated movie that tries to imitate a very real, emotional story. So it was very bizarre to me to watch something like this play out. By the way, I apologize if the audio isn't as good as it usually is. I have a fan blasting in my face because I am quite warm in this room right now, but and the film was directed by a man named Charlie Kaufman, who directed another film called Synecdoche, Synecdoche, New York. I have no idea how to pronounce that. It's probably like Synedoche. It's probably more like Synedoche, New York. Not Synecdoche, New York, which is a film that I have not seen yet. I've heard it's quite weird, but I do plan on watching that sometime. And he also directed Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is another film I have not seen yet, regrettably. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, adaptation, and Being John Malkovich, which I have seen some of Being John Malkovich. Again, these are films that I have not seen yet, but as a film student, I feel like it is my duty to watch these at some point. So this film stars a man named David Thewlis. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but most of you might recognize him as Remus Lupin from the Harry Potter series. He seems like a cool guy. I really like that character, and he is quite good in this movie, even though he's just a voice. And besides him, there's only one other actor and an actress in this movie, and it's very weird. The actress's name is Jennifer Jason Leigh, which most of you might recognize from Dolores Claiborne with Kathy Bates, and or last year's fellow nominee, Hateful Eight. And last but not least, the film stars a man named Tom Noonan, which I personally know him from a movie called Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He plays one of the antagonists of the film. And Tom Noonan, aside from the two main stars, Tom Noonan voices everybody else in the film. Male or female, they all have the same exact voice. At first, I thought that was really strange. The movie is about a man named Michael, who is an author of a not really a self-help book. It's kind of like this book that teaches communication and customer service lines and stuff like that. That's what I mean to say. And he is on a business trip to speak at a conference, and he meets this woman named Lisa, who, and this is where the voice thing comes in. Everyone else except for this woman sounds like Tom Noonan. And then he all of a sudden meets this woman who he thinks her voice is just beautiful. I read a theory that Michael, the main character, suffers from some kind of psychological disorder or some kind of delusion called the Frigoli, something like that, Frigoli, where people tend to fade together. You can't, where it becomes hard to differentiate one person from another. And if you really look closely, besides everyone else's voices sounding extremely similar, they even have the same face. I'm not talking about like the same body, same hair. You can all tell them apart, but they have the same face model. It is so weird once you realize it, but just certain things about the animation, little things like that, I can really appreciate. Certain little details that you can find out that just brings a whole new meaning to this film. And so when Michael meets this woman, he form this special relationship that sort of breaks his delusion in a way, where he sees her as this kind of glimmer of hope in this dull world he had made for himself. It was a very interesting movie, I think. The name comes from a name he had made for her, Anomalisa, which is like anomaly and Lisa. She sticks out from everything else. Just like I said, right after I watched this, I did not really know what to think. It was such a bizarre experience. But all the while, it was a really strong story behind it. And I had heard a review when it first came out where the reviewer said this is not a love story, it's a story portraying loneliness. It's just the story of this man stuck in a world of monotony, and it's rather depressing. It's a rather depressing story, but all the more powerful, I believe, if you identify with such a character. Okay, to get this out of the way, for parents, even though it is animated, it's a very adult-themed movie. It is quite dark, and in certain scenes, the puppet models are very anatomically correct. Very anatomically correct. So just by that, not a movie for kiddies. Okay, it is not kid friendly. So for now, I think I'll give Anomalisa a 7 out of 10. The film is quite slow, which didn't really bother me, and mostly just because it took me so long to figure stuff out, and for me to just think about it for a while. But in certain terms, that can really make a good movie when it makes you think about certain issues. If it sets out to start a dialogue or a conversation and it does its job, then how is it a bad movie? So that's it for my second Throwback review. So have a good day and check it out.